Get up and get out. Get out. Get out.
I have a question for you.
Say Christ is Lord. Say Christ is Lord. Say it. You say Christ is Lord. Get out. Get out. Christ is Lord.
Hello and welcome in. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the brand new intro. I think that one might be the one that stays. Appreciate everybody for being here. Welcome in to another episode of Offensively Accurate, hosted by yours truly. I'm going to do this without glasses. No, you cannot see my bald head. I will protect that with my life. But I'm wearing a suit. I'm dressed up. I dressed up everybody today. Nobody believed me that I had a suit. Going to start taking myself a bit more serious here, and you'll probably see a little bit less casual wear as we begin to take this to the next level. We have a big show today. I'm probably going to end up running over 2 hours unless I fly through everything. So we'll get to that as it comes. So a lot of things happening, a lot of things moving. I will do my best to cover every angle I possibly can. So to get this started, let's just get an overview of what has happened, today in this conglomerate of just a lot of stuff happening. We have George Soros kind of responding to the fact that he is getting a lot of pressure from not only the Trump administration, but many others as well. They are attempting to essentially kind of pin him down. I don't know if it's going to follow under a RICO case, but they are looking into Soros Foundation called the Open Society Foundation. That's the one that was responding to a lot of this kind of pushback, and it was predicated on a New York Times piece that kind of pushed for a little bit in that element. But we'll get to that story as it comes. Could be a nothing burger, but we do have the Trump task force to counter rogue NGOs alongside that as well. Yeah, make sure you smash the like button. And good seeing you guys in here. Nixie, Misnomer, 1989, and Tix Bomber. Appreciate you guys. But beyond there, we have, I think the biggest story of the day, honestly, in my opinion, is the FBI bombshell. The FBI bombshell is the fact that there was upwards of 250, I think the exact number being reported is 274 plainclothes FBI agents were at January 6th. This is astonishing for multiple reasons, but the largest and the biggest being that this has only essentially confirmed the fears of many, which was there was a lot more agents present on that day than we had initially known about. And this kind of points the finger at Christopher Wray, who, Lord knows how many different one of these, court hearings we've had, different processes we've gone through, witness testimony, so on and so forth. And a couple of things stick out. One, all of that, and it took 4 years to get this big piece of information. And secondly, the thing I would add on there too is Christopher Wray needs to go to prison for this. The fact that he was unwilling to give an answer to Congress, I believe not once but twice, over the specifics of how many agents were there. Christopher Wray needs to go to prison. Forgive me, can't talk. The other element is Ryan Dawson. I did not realize, but I follow him, and I had from our house AI, who is a wonderful, wonderful assistant and moderator here in the Offensively Accurate community, sent an article from Ryan Dawson's Substack, and the glaring thing I noticed about it wasn't his take. It was the fact that his take is very similar to Nick's, and he's not getting anywhere close to similar pushback as Nick. The article that I read from him literally read, "You can see the gun." And we can actually explore some of his Substack a little bit, but he basically is, and he ends it, he says, not everything is JFK. So that's a little bit of concern there too. And I know a lot of people, I've gotten a lot of comments from people on some of the previous videos who are very angry that I seemingly have just went along with Nick Fuentes' position, but if you had been paying attention to everything, you'd probably have a clear understanding of where I've been at. But I think that's pretty funny. We'll go through that. Beyond that, we do have the James Comey indictment. It was good news for, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes or so. Oh, that's awesome. And only to be turned around in the Trump administration, smack us in the behind, which is, it tracks. This is the pattern of behavior from the Trump administration. As it was told to us, or we got the news, that the prosecutor who laid down the indictment, good, but the prosecutor who will be on the case is none other than, I think her name is Lindsay Halligan, who has only ever worked on 3 federal cases ever. She was a former defense attorney for Donald Trump. She might still be a defense attorney. Well, I don't think she is. She's in a new position. But she's been around the Trump team for quite some time. You can find photos of her being alongside Pam Bondi. She's been inside that kind of tight-knit, limited hangout in the Trump administration. So that's where she comes from. But the glaring thing is the fact that she has never tried a prosecution. Why is this the selection to try Comey? I think it all plays out to be a lot of bread and circuses. This is more theater. And the best part is she is, well, I wouldn't say best part, but the funniest part is that she literally is a color copy of Alina Habba. And I think that kind of shows you the clear kind of prerogative from Donald Trump when he selects these individuals to do things for him. But thank you very much from Lord of the Ree. He has a super chat in here. He says, let me put it on screen here. He says, what? You mean you're not here to placate to my confirmation bias? Ree. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the super chat, brother. And that is exactly what a lot of this is. Is it a lot of, because you did not immediately confirm my biases, and I'll be honest with you, I've said multiple times, like I thought I was going to take heat from the Nick Fuentes crowd because I had opened with the fact that I think that there is a lot more here than meets the eye. I don't think it's as cut as dry as a leftist, but we'll get into that because there's a lot more coming from that story in particular. What I would say on top of that is another big story, which is probably the biggest in the mainstream kind of normie environment or climate, which is the fact that after we got Thomas Massey's last signature, which he needed from an Arizona special election, her name is Alagara Gajibitova or something like that. Yeah, it's foreign. What we got from that was he did get the 218th signature he needed for the discharge petition. But what we saw and what we got actually was the Democrats actually went ahead and released, I think it was the House Judiciary Democrats released their third batch of Epstein files. And what we got from that was Elon Musk was in there, Steve Bannon was in there, more on Prince Andrew, and a few other kind of oddities. And we'll explore that as well. But I think it was around 8,500 pages were released in total. So we will cover a bit from what came from there. And I did see some people in the Discord talking about this, and yes, there was a story that was floating around that was supposedly a Florida teen who was wearing a MAGA hat was kidnapped by 4 Mexicans, or abducted rather, and he went missing. The moment I began to look into that story, no joke, an hour later, it began reported that he was found and he has been safe. And it appears, as we're looking at the story now, that this is the Jussie Smollett story, but in the other direction. Actually, this is a kid crying wolf, and what I would say now for any left-wing individuals who may see this or watching now or will watch later, follow after me. This guy is probably one of us. He needs to face consequences, and some of the harshest consequences, for lying and wasting the department resources for a manhunt for him. They actually went so far as to put people on the ground with like dog crews and things like that. I'm not sure if they had air support, but they did put a lot of resources to find this kid. He needs to face charges for that. Lying to that degree is, and again, too, it kind of makes everybody look bad on this side as well. So now we are 1 for 1 with the left for Jussie Smollett's from our side. It is a little disappointing because we don't need that right now. Another story, and I'm just listing off the story. This is all of the stories we're going through here. Jackson says, "What is a WANGHAF?" I cannot say the full definition on YouTube, unfortunately, but it would be something like this: a white ass wigga going hard as fuh. that is what that means. I had actually never heard of the term until earlier today. My wife actually showed me a funny edit from Nick. I'm going to be the embodiment of that meme from here on out. And it kind of gave me an inspiration to dress up today too. But some bigger news, and we're going to get, this is kind of more of the robust story coverage of the entire Charlie Kirk event. That's what we'll label it as that, because there's so many things from it, even beyond his just assassination. Is that we have his protege is here, the heir to the throne, if you will. We're going to get that. His name is Brilyn. I think it's Brilyn. Brilyn Hollyhand supposedly is this guy who's being pushed by none other than Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire, many of those individuals in that crowd, PragerU, probably the place. And it's everything you thought it would be. Another pro-Israel. And in fact, and no joke, and this is no shade to Charlie whatsoever. And to be honest, Charlie never gave like any kind of homo vibes. He gave just kind of like, regular guy vibes. This Brilyn Hollyhand kid gives the gayest, queerest vibes I think I've gotten from a Republican pundit in a long time. And that's not even me poking fun. I mean, like, seriously, I think he might be walking a fine line there, but we'll get into that. And he has a curious background with his family. We'll get into that too. Supposedly his father is a major donor to the Republican Party. So he comes from the donor class, and no joke, he's flying around on his campus tour right now in a private jet. We'll get into that. We also have the fact that Erica Kirk is hosting the Charlie Kirk Show, and I think most people right off the rip immediately see from Erica Kirk, they go, this does not seem normal. And that has been tracking ever since she gave the memorial service speech. Now, what I would caveat there is I think her first speech on the live stream from Charlie Kirk Show, which was really just from his channel, it wasn't the show, that came off a lot more real than anything that I've seen since then. But even then, it came off performative. Her face and some of her emotions, it can be seen, and we have a clip we'll watch, and there's a photo floating around. It does not give you the vibes that this is someone who is overwhelmingly hurt or at a loss for what has transpired with her family. And we'll explore that a little bit too, as well as it pertains to her children. And then we actually will be reacting to a full-blown clip from Nick Fuentes that I've not gotten a chance to look at too, because it looks as he is opening his purview to the possibility of Erica Kirk having some nefarious, maybe that's the right way to say it, some nefarious backings to it, at least being willing and open to explore the possibilities that Erica Kirk is not all that she is chalked up to be. So we'll explore that as well too. And then from there, we also have some more information coming out about the autopsy. And in fact, that there possibly, and what it looks to, and appears to be, that there is no autopsy at all. So we will explore that, and as well as some leaked audio that has come from there. And then in the geopolitical world, what we do have is the fact that the ADL is on a full-blown panic. We had Benjamin Netanyahu basically get shown up for the first time, I think, in public purview in a while, in a very public way. He went to go ahead and give a speech and cry victim, and when he went up there, a lot of the UN, I believe it was the UN, not the EU, a lot of the UN delegates walked away, and no joke, about 90% of the delegates sent to listen to him go on about his victimhood and Israel's victimhood, they left the stadium. They walked out of the auditorium, and there's a funny photo you can find of him basically talking to an empty room. And from there, there was a small bit that got clipped that is very peculiar. Something about people dancing on rooftops and being happy, but you'll be surprised about who we actually are talking about here. So with that is a overview of the topics. We will begin to explore them one by one. We'll start with some of the more boring stuff and get into the meat of the party, if you will. So as we get this started, do I need to sit like this too? I'm sorry, my camera doesn't have the right purview. I need my AF cup too. I need my mug of coffee. I thought about going full bald, to be honest, but I don't think you guys are ready for that. I don't even think I'm ready to go full bald yet, but we'll get to that. So starting off, we're going to start with the most boring thing, actually. So what we do actually have is the George Soros. It's a smaller story just because it's in line with a lot more stuff going on too with the NGOs. And this is kind of, if you were to zoom out, this is kind of actually all in track with the USAID and basically the kind of hollowing out of what they're kind of coining as the protest industrial complex, which is removing some of the actual kind of financial structure and the infrastructure and institutional structure that allows for there to be pallet of bricks around whenever there's a riot going on. There just so happens to be a pallet of bricks laying there. So in the line and in the vein of that is kind of where the story is going, and the reason why the New York Times decided to debut this, basically a hit piece on George Soros, pushing and kind of asking for investigations into George Soros's foundation. So George Soros's foundation is the Open Society Foundation. So this is OSF, and they gave an extremely weak response to this report. So this report was done by Capital Research Center. I want to make sure I got that right. And it was largely done by Ryan Mauro. I think I'm saying his name right. And the report kind of went into detail about how the OSF, so Open Society Foundation, has poured about $80 million into all these different groups that are tied to terrorism. And he puts it all in there. It's like well over 100 pages. And it's got some ugly truth to it. It really does. Now, the good thing about it is the fact that it looks like we are moving some actionable pieces towards it. And so what I mean by that is Trump has kind of put it out into the ether a couple of times, but what we have from a Justice Department official is that the New York Times even actually corroborated this with the Justice Department official. There's going to be 6 different U.S. attorney offices that's going to begin preparing, for investigations into this, or investigative plans, they say. So hopefully we can get a bit more moving on there. And that's part of the reason why you're also, on the other hand, getting the task force to look into some of these NGOs that might not be directly linked to the Soros Foundation, but basically all kind of move in lockstep. And we kind of are, if you're new here, and most of you probably aren't, this is kind of the pattern of behavior. And understanding too, in this element, a lot of these are kind of sister networks, if you will. A lot of them are very similar, but doesn't mean they are directly connected, but a lot of them work in tandem and they all have a lot of similar goals. And following the money, you'll find a lot that you wish that you didn't. And so just give a piece on that too. And then with the task force from Zero Hedge, Zero Hedge reported on this earlier, wanting to counter some of these rogue NGOs, some of these NGOs that are trying to basically kick and scream, even without, basically being gutted from USAID or losing funding via a proxy through there. So let's get into the real big one here. So I'll put this article on screen, actually. It's probably what people would rather like to see instead of my big face. Yeah, no hedge, all bush. So this is the article here. Oh, forgive me. The YouTube up. This is from Just the News. And maybe I should make this a bit smaller. I forgot to put on the ad blocker. But this is the bombshell here. 274 agents that were sent to the Capitol for January 6th. Many later complained they were political pawns. You know what? I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to switch this around. We're going to bring it in like this because we don't need to have all of that on screen. So I'll zoom in a bit here too. But this is the article, and it's from Just the News. This is the one that I'm referencing here. So from Just the News. And the ridiculous part about this is how it was hidden for 4 years. 4 years goes by, and we've had how many hearings about J6? The mainstream media has covered up and down, left and right, everything about January 6th. And it's seemingly like we've got everything, right? And this kind of goes in that same vein of we have, thousands of hours from Tucker Carlson that we never ended up ultimately getting, and he just kind of uses a highlight reel and a compilation clip. We didn't get much more from that. But here's the part that really, really, really pissed me off, is that many of them actually complained. Many of these agents complained. So understand that. Many of these agents complained. So what is the problem here? What is the problem with that? Well, the problem is, one, that they only complain to their superiors. So what good does that do? The people who are directing you to do the things that you don't like doing, you're writing an angry note saying, I wish you wouldn't do this. And this entire article is actually littered with comments from all these after action reports from all these guys complaining. And then you go to the second level, which is you're telling me 274 men that have worked their way and been selected to operate and work in what is in America one of the highest esteemed, 3-letter agencies for security purposes that has a lot to do with national security as well as investigations all around the country. And none of them blew the whistle. I mean, that's a serious problem. And this is a question of morality. And this kind of goes along in line with the Border Patrol, which was, how many agents do we have in Border Patrol? But it was only one guy who, has a very funny Italian accent from New York. That was one of the only few willing to do it. And he suffered consequences for opening up about it. It's just, and it really bothers me too, because they're holding these highly decorated positions. These are supposed to be men that have made it to the top, right? Even to get into the FBI, you have to have all these things, right? You can't even have smoked weed 10 times in your life. They have all these crazy parameters to even get in there. And 274 men decided to shut their mouths and watch while the 4 years played out in front of them as other innocent Americans were locked up, taken away from their families, ripped away from their families, their lives destroyed, put in solitary confinement, be ripped of their rights in this country. And they sat there because they didn't want to like get attacked, or like they feared for their, I mean, this is a huge problem, and this is a serious problem in this country. We have too many men in positions of power that could otherwise do something, but they literally won't because they are cowards. And this is actually not the primary element of getting our guys in positions, but this is a secondary element of that, which is, how do we have so many men who get to these spots and they are literally pathetic cowards? I can't imagine being one of those guys who knew the ideological capturing of what happened there, what they did, what they partook in, and they sat there and watched the news roll over and over and over again of Dan, 27 from Arlington, Texas, who's in solitary for 3 straight years. My disdain for the generations of men ahead of me, it is vindicated on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's the biggest takeaway I have, which is like, and for what? I mean, and for what? It was the fear that maybe the FBI would come and like, I don't know, show up to their home and rig their Tesla or something. I mean, sure. But at the end of the day, it's like, we can't, I mean, you just can't even have a country if men don't have morals. Forget everything else. If you don't have a line where you're willing to go, you know what? I'm going to do this because I believe in something greater than myself. I believe in something greater than my personal safety. I believe in something greater than the simple safety of my own family. I believe in the safety of the families of the men around me. But that's part of the atomization. They break up the, in the 60, 70, 80 year play to deracinate, degenerate this country into exactly what you see here. Everybody's out for themselves, and literally almost 300 guys watched all of J6 happen, said nothing, and let us suffer for it. I don't know, man. And but that's the part that bothers me, is how many of them wrote these strongly worded letters. And you can see this in the argument. So let me make this a bigger view here. You can see this, right? So we'll go through this, put up on screen. So here we have one. One employee wrote in a stinging review, wow, FBI should make clear to its, shut the fuck up. It should equally and aggressively investigate criminal act. Like, are we serious, bro? And you can just keep going through here. There's more of them. Currently, it's the U.S. Attorney's Office is dictating what gets to be investigated, and that's not fair. FBI agents, man. Talking like women. It's hilarious. It's very funny. And you could just keep going, man. It's continual. It is continual. Now the two through lines here, though, that I will say, add on to that too. There's 2 of them. The one is actually, I get that it's a complaint and it's seemingly from a woman, and so it's like, haha, funny. What you see though is the U.S. Attorney's Office, and that is a through line there, which is the fact that if the U.S. Attorney's Office literally is like holding up investigations, then we do need to begin looking at Pam Bondi in a different light. Is the same thing happening here? Is the same thing going on? And you're kind of getting that too, because people are actually attacking Pam Bondi from the Lindsay Halligan element. Because why is this lady who has a job for like 2 days starting the indictment? But you've been in office this whole time. So there is a through line there that just in terms of how the system works, maybe need to look at that a little bit more. But on top of that, they go to talk about the Washington field office being ideologically captured. And of course, we all know that. That's been a thing. We've known that ever since, we've got a lot of those reports from, not Nancy Mace. Who's the super old bag of wrinkles? Pelosi. Man, I cannot think of what her name is. Yeah, Pelosi. And all of her communications to like the Washington staff personnel who was there on that day, all of our communications to, I believe, just like the Capitol Police and everything in there. So it's clear that whole section has obviously been ideologically captured. And I don't know. It's just like, I think the part that bothered me the most was just seeing that there was literally 300 men who kept their mouths shut for 4 years. And I think the funny part with that is, how often is it foretold to to us, conspiracy theorists, if you will, that, and I may press a new tab, that if there's no way that many people can be in on it and nobody will say something. But time and time again, it's shown, oh, hey, look, here's 300 guys who knew something was happening and all of them kept their mouths shut for 4 straight years. Now, what I will say, caveat, maybe one of them did and they were missing person before anyone ever knew about it. And if they are, rest in peace to those good soldiers. But the way it's looking is it seems like the majority of them did not. And I think that is a microcosm, a look into the heart of the average American man. And not even the average American man who's in a position of power. No morals, care about themselves, literally only there to serve themselves. And that is a problem. Because the people who are in positions of power need to be the ones who are most concerned about everyone else's well-being, not their own, not their families. And that's a hard thing to hear, but why are you putting yourself in a position to work for the public if you are unwilling to take on the responsibilities that is required for that? Doesn't make any sense to me. I can't stand the bitching about my family, my paycheck. Then leave office. Let someone else fulfill the position. Simple as. But again, additionally to that, Christopher Wray, because he's the one that was handling all of this and being the one who chose not to say anything, he's got to go. You have to go. You have to go to prison. You have to, everything that he knows, it's got to be laid up out there. Has to. And that's kind of the bombshell story of, I think for mainstream today, if you will. And I think you're going to get a bit more probably from the Epstein stuff too. Those two are probably going to dominate the mainstream circles. And a lot for a lot of the others, we're going to still be looking at Kirk because we are not satisfied with what we are getting from that. But moving on, we have, I'll save the Ryan Dawson stuff for right before we get into the majority of the Charlie Kirk stuff, actually. We'll save that for a little bit. We'll go to the James Comey indictment because this all kind of falls under mainstream news, if you will, which I need to get into the habit of covering that a bit more. I will catch up on chats. Looks like you guys cleaned up somebody out there. We have Hutch saying, how do I get ungray named? I've been watching streams for a while. I'm not sure where you're gray named, my guy. Oh, well, yeah, the gray name in the live chat's just for anybody who's not a moderator. Only moderators have the blue tag. And I keep that short and simple. Not to have everybody be a moderator, because otherwise that turns out bad. And we have personal experience with that from the previous show I was a part of. We have from Money Chomp, it says, Atlas, they let them muzzle their kids like dogs, yet packed football stadium. These are not men. Very true. It is very unfortunate. And thank you. I do appreciate that, brother. I will try my hardest to do so. So going back to this next thing, which is the James Comey indictment. In this article, he comes out and he says, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Well, you know what? I wouldn't be afraid either. Because the lady that is going to be prosecuting his case, this is going to be her first time ever. And so good luck to her for that. And I'm going to be honest, I think it was orchestrated to be this way. I'll just tell you that up front. But he does release this video. He says, I'm not afraid. He's only got a couple of days left even before the statute of limitations is going to run out, literally 2 days. So I'm not sure when the article was posted. So I'm not sure if today was the last day for charges to be brought, but they ran the clock out on that one. And it's going to be 1 count of making false statements and 1 count of obstruction of justice. And but just prior to this, you have the fact that Trump had removed Eric Seibert, forgive me, male, because they reportedly refused to bring anything against Comey. They refused to press charges against him. So Trump pushed them out, and he was the U.S. Attorney for Eastern District of Virginia, pushed them out, and then he handpicked Lindsay Halligan, who just so happens to be a color copy of Alina Habba. Blonde hair, pretty looking woman, and no experience, no real kind of conviction behind it, no real kind of belief, but that's who we got. And it just makes me think that Trump is more concerned with the person he's going to look at versus what actually is going to come of the case. So there's that. So let's go here. Let's bring this up because this is from Molly Plopkins. There's got a lot of play online. This is the tweet here. Lindsay Halligan, a newly installed U.S. attorney prosecuting James Comey at Trump's direction, is an insurance attorney and a Miss Colorado finalist. She has never prosecuted a case. Now, funny enough, and this is going to freak people out, but I didn't want to explore it much further because I can't take much more than what this timeline currently is. Supposedly, this woman and Eric Kirk have actually been acquainted with each other before, and it was at one of these beauty pageants. So, like I had said so far, and like I have been saying for quite some time, to be honest with you, is that, and this is part of one of the older intros, there comes a point where there's only so many jobs in government. But if 90% of these jobs in government, these people have some connection with Epstein, they were supposedly worked with Trump back, and that one it can be a bit more understandable if it's related to Trump, he's bringing in his guys, but it's the Epstein stuff. It's like how is 90% of the administration, they've lived next to Epstein, or their accountant worked for Epstein, or their maid was, associated with Epstein in like 2011. Like, there comes a point where it's like, how is everyone in this administration? Then you go, oh, that's because they all are actually all together in this. They're not separate at all. And you got to take it with that understanding instead. And it is just sad how captured it is. And yes, Jackson is very correct. It's a big club and none of us are in it. And I don't want to be in it. I just want them to stop exerting power over all of us, to be honest with you. But, this is, so this is obviously a bit concerning, if you will. But the one thing I want to bring your attention to in particular is this is from the New York Post. And so they couldn't even bring a strong defense of it. But it's underneath. No, it's this one. Where is it at? Right here. I found it. Give the ads. My gosh, this page is getting annihilated by him. Who had worked only 3 federal cases before President Trump appointed her. And notice how they don't say prosecuted, because she didn't prosecute them. She worked on them. This will be her first led prosecution. Now, I'm willing to be wrong on that, but I've seen from 3 different sources that I do trust. And then this is kind of confirmation here as well. The way that they kind of worded it in the language in the New York Post. And even if it wasn't, even if it was only 3 prosecutions, let's give them the full-blown benefit of the doubt. Full-blown benefit of the doubt. And we'll say, okay, she prosecuted 3 cases. Still, why is that the hand selection? A former insurance attorney being selected to, again, one of the highest offices in the land to carry out justice for the American people, right? A lot is riding on this. A lot, even symbolically is riding on this. And what are we getting? We're getting a woman that Trump likes to look at because she has tatas. I'm going to buy an official Fell For It Again award, and I'm going to staple it to my forehead, and I will wear it till the end of time. I still will, profusely apologize for telling anyone to vote for Donald Trump leading up to 2024. And I'm still angry at Donnie for pulling me out when I was so close to voting for Kamala. That's some lore. And so there's that. That's the James Comey indictment. It's probably a big nothing burger. It's no wonder he's not afraid. He knows it's a big orchestration. He's probably winking, and he probably squeezed Trump on the butt right before he went in to record that with the interview. It's just a big joke, man. It really is. And the one thing I would say with that, though, too, is how's MAGA feeling? How are the plane trusters right now? How much copium are you guys up to per day? How much do you need? It's got to be tiring, man. Believing in this guy, going like, oh yeah, Trump will do it. He's got it. We're going to get it done today. And then it's nope, no delivery, not happening. Actually, what I meant to say was this. It's actually not nearly as base as what I said literally on TV. Just, it's a joke, man. But this is kind of 2 stories in one. Moving on to the next story that we have here is actually that the Arizona special election, and I'm going to get her name. I'm going to name her right. So it's a Democrat. So Thomas Massie was rooting for this woman to win her special elections, and she was replacing, I believe, her father. And I don't remember what his name was, but her name is Democrat Adelita. I'm not even joking you. Grijava. Don't like that. And I definitely don't like the fact that she's just basically stepping in for her father, who was previously occupying that seat. Don't like that either. You seriously telling me nobody else wanted to run? But that did give Massey the 218th signature that he needed to be able to push the special discharge petition to force a vote on the Epstein files. And what we did get, though, in the light of that, actually, literally a day later, is a Democrat releasing their batch of Epstein files. So I'll put it on screen. Let me get it here. Let me get this loaded. So you're going to see plenty of these tweets floating around today. And this is going to be a coupling of a few of the screenshots. But it looks like there are 4 pages in particular that are making the rounds. And what we have from them is 8,500 unredacted or 8,500 redacted documents being released from about 2014 to 2019. And what it showed was 3 kind of big things. The first one being scheduled meetings with Steve Bannon and Peter Thiel. Don't like that. Second thing, well, I don't like Peter Thiel, but don't like that now Steve Bannon has been named and involved with this explicitly. There is supposedly a tentative plan for Elon Musk to actually visit the private island. And tentative, and we'll get into that because there's some language on the document we'll have to look at. And then we have more on Prince Andrew, who seemingly is the one who catches most of the strays anytime anything from Epstein is released, and his is the bit, more incriminating, if you will. But the flight manifest that lists Prince Andrew as a passenger is now available, and additional financial records that show that Epstein was paying masseuses for someone named Andrew. I wonder who. I wonder who this Andrew would be of all these dealings from Epstein. Who would it possibly be? And so to go to the bulk of these photos here, I'll put it back on screen. Or I'll cover this real quick. Thank you very much, Titan. Titan says, "Stay Christ is Lord pilled. The coming times will only build more and more warriors for Christ. They love flaunting the victories of the devil, but we never see the victories of our Lord on the news." And that is very true. That is very, very true. And let me just, and thank you again, Titan, for the super chat. I appreciate it very much. Let me add another element to this too, which is part of my concern with maybe people who are here who don't know about it. So Ken Klippenstein did a lot of coverage on the Discord logs as they kind of came out from the assassination case with Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson, and all of that. Additionally, what we did get was a lot of rhetoric from the administration and Trump himself that we need to be going a lot harder on trans individuals. And then what we did get word of was that there was actually a plan moving forward to not only label Antifa as a domestic terrorist threat, but also to add sub-threat categories for trans individuals. The only issue is that they did not name them explicitly. The tagline they're using for these trans individuals is considered a nihilistic violent extremist, for short, NVE. And my first thought when I'm looking at that is, does that mean that anybody who does something, violent or criminal and their social media history has a long thread of them talking about how black-pilled they were, are they now going to be labeled as a terrorist? It's too broad. And once again shows the unwillingness and the lack of appetite for the administration to do something meaningful or what the people actually want. What the people actually want is a Trump administration to explicitly name and label trans individuals as being mentally ill and unfit for civil society. Why the administration is flopping or waffling on this, I cannot understand it. And this goes to show the capturing of everyone's feelings. And it is pathetic. It is a disgusting. To me, it's disgusting for a couple of reasons, but the largest being it's disgusting because it is, once again, the civil magistrate being unwilling to enact justice on something that is so easily and overtly visible to everyone with eyes. And on that, what I would add too beyond there is this also seems to me that they could also begin to put incels in that same category as well. Anyone familiar with any of the conversations I've had with Dark Cell? This is, I believe, in like 2022. So under the Biden administration, they did, and in 2021 as well. They did begin preparing plans to begin, and I think they did to some level. I'm not sure how far they ended up getting, but it's a couple of years ago, to put incels in those in kind of the manosphere group as this similar kind of tagline, which is nihilistic. They are, they're men who are, they hate their lives, they hate the world, and they might be spastic or erratic. And so that's why it matters that we are explicit with our words, right? We don't have an epidemic of nihilist. I mean, we do, but not in the same light of like the nihilists are being violent. The epidemic of nihilism is a lot of people just being apathetic. What we do have an epidemic of is a lot of trans individuals being so radicalized and then being so ushered off into such a extreme way of life that when anything goes wrong or they waffle on it themselves, they're in a really bad spot and they off themselves at an extremely high clip. It needs to be explicit. Donald Trump, if you hear me, make it explicit, please. We are begging you, the American people. Promise you, there's nobody even in MAGA who's probably going to be that upset or will clutch that many pearls over the fact that you would be willing to say that the trans delusion is exactly that. A delusion that is unfit for the American way of life. How hard could that be? But moving on to the batch of the Epstein files, I put it back on screen here. This is from Brian Allen. I literally have no idea who this guy is. But he's just one of many who have been posting these things. And so I think the first thing we can explore is the tentative Elon Musk element, which I believe is right here. And so this is one of the reports from the pages here. And I'll see, I'm going to open this in a new tab and I'll zoom in so you guys can see this a lot better. So you'll see this right here. My cursor is, this is a reminder for Saturday, December 6th, 2014. Reminder, Elon Musk to island, December 6th. But quote, in parentheses, is this still happening? So tentative as this is not definitive evidence. It just shows that he was at some point possibly contemplating the possibility of maybe entertaining, possibly going to Jeffrey Epstein's island. So there's that. So that's the Elon one. And we'll scroll out from here. What we do have in some of the secondary elements here is Steve Bannon and Peter Thiel. Here's a Breakfast Club here. This is Peter Thiel, named explicitly for the noon lunch, and that's in 2017 in New York, but I believe we actually already knew that in particular. Then you have Steve Bannon. I can't see that. I think it says 7 a.m. breakfast with Steve Bannon, and that's actually one of the most recent ones in 2019, and again, New York, then in February. And that is a very, very recent one. And then you have here, these are some of the financials, but again, Prince Andrew is listed verbatim on the passenger manifest from Hyperion Air. And that would be from, I'm not sure if they have a date on this one, May 12th, but I'm not sure what year that would be in, and I'm not seeing it. So there you have it. The Democrat release, and I'm sure you might get a lot of people who are going to be yelling and screaming that this is like politically timed or something. Sure, maybe there's a possibility of that, but at the end of the day, we do want all of what we can possibly get from the Trump administration on Jeffrey Epstein. I'm so good on that. Don't even care who who releases them at this point, to be honest with you. And that's kind of the bulk of that release there. So I'm sure there might be more. As this always occurs, give the autists and the internet crowd a little bit of time to actually kind of sift through these. If it was 8,500 pages, I mean, that's quite a lot. And again, a lot of it being redacted. So add in the time to kind of put some pieces together as well too. But that's that. And so we will cover the Florida team before we get into the big featured element of today, which is a lot of the Charlie Kirk stuff. So what we have is this, supposedly this story that floated around that there was a teenager, this individual here, which I guess I don't need to pull the article. I need to get the ad blocker immediately. I'm not going to force you guys to look at that. Let me go to I just have a photo up actually. Let's do that. Give me the photo. Here's a photo of the kid because I know the story. So this is the kid. And so the story goes something like this. He wore a MAGA hat. He sent like this cryptic final text to his mom. Said like, 4 Mexicans. I was wearing my MAGA hat. 1 white van. Help me. Something along those lines. So the police kind of got the idea that this kid was targeted for, politically for wearing his MAGA hat and that he was abducted by 4 Mexicans. I think it said 4 Hispanics, but we'll just use Mexicans. I think it's less offensive. These 4 Mexicans apparently did not exist. And now it's being discovered. And I believe what actually did happen was after an Amber Alert was released, an hour later, he got pinged on a CCTV or it was like a grocery store or something, basically got a tag of him with his bicycle, completely unharmed and, not that far away. So it turns out that supposedly it looks like this is a complete fabricated story. The mom doesn't believe so, but again, the mom more than likely was probably lied to by the son, which is unfortunate. But that is the bulk of the story. And the reality is here, well, 2 things. One, it's kind of depressing that we have made it this far, that we now have people in MAGA. And this is kind of indicative of how much MAGA is a cult. And, we didn't have to do that, to get the message across. Like, do we need to go to these lengths to really demonstrate the point that we don't want Mexicans in this country? Right? Like, is that we have to do this? Like, no, we didn't need to do that. Just like pointing them at already available, very objective, very usable, very strong argument positions of why they take and destroy Western values in this country and their overall detriment, and the fact that they send money out back home. We didn't need that. The other element, though, on the other side of it is, and I've already seen some people from like the quartering as well, and it's an easy moral grandstand to take, but the reality is like, yes, this kid needs to face charges. This was, I don't even know if I would say disgusting, but this was just unnecessary, dumb. The kid probably needs some kind of mental help. I'm not sure why you would do this uninitiated. I'm not sure. Maybe he is like legitimately racist and he wants people out of this country like that bad. He's willing to stage something. There is that level. I mean, I'm sure that's what Jussie Smollett was thinking. He hated white people so bad. I'll stage this and scream about a noose. And then, next thing, maybe Trump will get booted out or something like that. But no, we're gonna hold the high ground. We're gonna be above and beyond reproach. Yeah, the quarter pounding. Yeah, it makes me sad, man. I wish he would this way. I'm telling you, and I'm telling you guys, as someone who has gained and lost 50 pounds like multiple times in my life in a couple of months, stop putting mouth in your food hole. I don't feel bad for you. None of you who struggle with weight loss and weight gain. I don't, especially if you're a man. I got no time for that. Be better. And I'm telling you as somebody who was a fat monkey once, be better. But it's kind of a joke. So you have then our version of Jussie Smollett. I believe his name is like Caden Freight or something like that. Something along those lines is like Caden. I'm not going to dox the kid. His name is something, and I'm sure everybody was going to be running with it. CNN's going to be, they're going to be salivating over this and be like, oh my gosh, they did it. They faked it. They lied. Look, they lied. And it's like, they're going to farm that for Lord knows how long. So that's that story. So yeah, it is a hoax, if you will. I believe somebody said LP covered it earlier today, but that's my take on it. It's just, of course. So let's get into the big stuff today. Let's start covering Brilyn Hollyhand, the supposed heir, the heir apparent to TPUSA. That's not a woman. That's not Erica Kirk, who's there right now, but the supposed, in essence, who will actually be on the campuses, who will be the next Charlie Kirk. It's going to be Brilyn Hollyhand. And he loves Israel. And you know where this is going. You know where this is going. Listen, I appreciate that. 1989. I appreciate that very much. Appreciate the super chat. I'm not saying this. I'm telling you this as someone who's not saying this to be offensive. I'm telling you this that personally for me, all of the niceties never worked. It didn't matter how much the football coach was putting his hand on my shoulder and saying, man, I love how much you're getting in there. I love it. It didn't matter how much my dad was like, man, it looks like you're making some progress, keep it up. It didn't matter that my mom said, oh, you're so handsome. What made me change, the only thing that literally got me to leave this kind of that mindset of like, oh, tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. A couple donuts isn't that bad, was literally opening my eyes and realizing to the fact that, and I'm going to be honest with you, I seriously have zero sexual access and I'm basically nothing. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole, and being bullied and shamed and being kicked down, it lit a fire in me. So when I was like 15 years old, I looked at everyone else around me, and this is obviously before I was, in my Christian walk of faith. But I literally said, you know what, like, I'm sorry, like F that. Like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy who's, made fun of and pushed all. But not to go too far into that story, but it was shame. I needed to be shamed. The encouragement didn't work for me. And I think that's true of a lot of people. And I say this also as someone who is a former personal trainer. Shame is the element that some people need. They just do. That is what some people need. Maybe some people can get by with encouragement. But in my experience, shame works better. And actually being real with yourself. Not treating yourself like some victim, and not being like, well, all these things happen. And that's why, like, no, looking at yourself objectively, like who you are. But not to spend too much time on that. And again, I know there's people in this chat that struggle with that. And again, I'm always available if you want to talk about these things. I'm a former personal trainer. You know, I went to school and learned all the fancy bells and whistles and the anatomy of the human body. So if you need help with things, the DMs are open. So feel free to reach out to me on that end. So let's go into Brilyn Hollyhand. Let's put this guy's face on the screen. Let's start reacting to some of this because I only began to really understand who this guy was today. But I had seen him and his name floated around the couple of days prior. But it looks like he's really kind of making it onto the mainstream scene now. This is from Isaiah Martin. No idea who this is. He's black, so take that for what it is. Marcus, don't be too offended. I love you, brother. He says the Republican Party is so in touch with the people that they send a kid in a private jet to go argue when we shouldn't have health care. And I got to be honest, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. It deserves a like. He probably would literally hate me if he saw all of my opinions, but hey, that's a dub. So what is this post here? This is from Brilyn. It's such a female name too. Like it's not even a real name, man. Let me pause this. So there you go. Right, he's got the very classic presidential. No, if I did that, my button might come off my pants so fast it wouldn't kill somebody. So here, this is what he says. University of Arkansas, we are on the way now to kick off my 10-stop campus tour. Who does that sound like? Charlie Kirk, wow. We've already sold 2 different rooms, so we are on the way to the biggest room possible to fit as many students as we can. See y'all on the ground soon. And there you have it. So this is him, Mr. Presidential. And yes, that is him in his private jet. And he's flying to the University of Arkansas. And I think it's funny because I'm pretty sure he's from Arkansas. So I don't know why you need to take a private jet there, but maybe he was somewhere else. Who knows? But let's take a listen. Who's coming to save us? Who is coming to save us? Let me turn this down so I don't blow nobody's eardrums out. Let's go.
What's up, America? Brilyn Hollyhand here, about 30,000 feet up. We are on the way to Arkansas. So everybody in line at the University of Arkansas to kick off my 10-stop campus tour. We are coming to you right here, right now. Stay in line. We have gotten a 3rd room as we have sold out this campus stop 3 times. But we are coming to you. We will fit you in. Students will get priority, but we will make it happen. I cannot be more excited. We are back. We are on the road. We're coming to you one conversation at a time. If you're not at the University of Arkansas, we're coming to a campus near you soon. So check out my tour dates. We'll see you super soon.
Well, let me do this. I'm going to do this right. Let me not destroy my audio setup. I'm trying to do this. Like, dude, this guy is so... Like, how can it get worse? Like, it's like... Bro, you would think, like, dog, is no one paying attention right now to, like, the current environment and the state of men in the right wing, bro? Like, dude, this is how you know nobody, man. Nobody has their finger on the pulse. And maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's not that they don't have their finger on the pulse. Maybe it's because they seriously convince themselves that the guys like us are like we're some small fringe minority. Brother, I'm telling you, even the guys who probably lead the youth group at the church near me would watch this video and go, that guy's a little gay. What are we doing? But yeah, Ronnie, you know what? I need to stop laughing because you're right. It gets so much worse. And no, I'm not going Adolf. I can't go Adolf. I can't go full AH. I can't, man. It's just not there. I don't have a strong enough mustache. I don't. I need to keep the Riz. I'm just messing. That was kind of gay. Okay, so there's that from, Hollyhand. And worse does have an end. It is true. But this story does indeed get worse. And so how does it get worse? So we'll explore it a little bit. Supposedly the family is made up of a lot of rich people. And obviously indicative is the private jet already. Let me put this on screen here for you guys. Let's go here. This is from Aiden, and I don't know who this individual is, but I know he's followed by Fuse Guy and Hermes, so I'll take him as being somewhat trustworthy. But this is what he writes. He writes, hilarious. The next Charlie Kirk is astroturfed by a Section 8 low-income housing developer in Alabama. You might ask yourself how Brilyn, I'm just going to say Bree, how Bree Hollyhand, son and grandson of Brian and Douglas Hollyhand, is on a private jet for this tour. I've never heard so many fake-sounding names in my life over the last, couple of weeks. Lance Twiggs, Brilyn Hollyhand, what is this? And then, that Caden kid from the last story, his name is kind of weird, too. But it goes on. His family is a commercial real estate developer. For low-income public housing, his family makes money off political connections to HUD and government benefits. In Alabama, who do you think is buying up the low-income housing? So there you have some of these screenshots here. And it kind of talks a bit more about Hollyhand development, but that is what they are. They are a real estate company, which looks to be in business for quite some time, and they are major GOP donors. So if you go to this AF post here, Ben Shapiro does promo for the son of GOP donor Brian Hollyhand. You know he's a good one when Ben Shapiro's pushing him, man. All right, man. Okay, yeah, Ben, yeah. The appearance follows a New York Post puff piece in an organized campaign to astroturf the influencer as the new Charlie Kirk. So that is who Bree Holly is. Breus Holiness is the new Charlie Kirk, and that's who he's being pushed out to be. He is being propagated like crazy, and we will cover some of these here. So the first stop that he had was at the University of Arkansas. So let's see him after he lands his private jet. Oh, wow. Let's go. Dude, bro. Why are so many white guys this skinny, man? You know what I mean? Put some weight on them bones, man. He's got to go the other way. And that's harder. It's harder to put on mass. Bro's built. Yeah, he's built like Slender Man. I mean, I've never even seen somebody's shirt be that untucked on the backhand side besides Kyrie Irving and J.R. Smith. What's going on here? Anyways, let's take a listen. This is again from him. It says a sold out show. Looks like they can pack 50 people in there. Don't smack yourself on the ass too much, buddy. It says a sold out auditorium isn't a bad way to kick off my 10-stop campus tour. University of Arkansas, thank you all so much for having me and for coming out tonight. So yada yada, it's this basic, PC stuff. Take a listen. So what does he sound like here in a professional setting? I don't know who this is, but I'm disgusted. It's funny. Let's take a listen.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so honored.
Gay, dude. It's so gay, man. Thank you for having me. And today I'm going to talk to you about Christianity and right-wing values. Not even trying to be mean, dog, but you cannot represent us. You are not a representative of us. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so honored to be here, and I'm so excited to officially kick off our One Conversation at a Time tour on your beautiful campus. When we planned this all out, I wanted this to be the first stop. I wanted to be here. I wanted to be with you, and this worked out perfectly. And it looks like we've got a full room, so I think we chose pretty wisely. So it's genuinely an honor. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of you before we get started, because I'm a freshman at Auburn. I understand the strains in your time commitment. I understand all of the insane things that you could be doing tonight. You've got homework. There's probably some parties going on campus. You got to get ready for the weekend and whoever y'all play on Saturday. But genuinely, you took the time to be here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, if you don't hear anything else tonight, thank you for being here. Thank you for kicking off this tour with me. It is an honor to share this experience with you.
Now, truth be told, there probably is a reality in which he probably could just be a decent kid. I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt, though. I think that this kid was essentially created in a lab. He was basically, built, propagated, and is the useful tool for his own father, who is a GOP donor. Yeah, what happened to the college jocks and chads? I don't know. So you heard him say it there too. He is a freshman as well. He had two, baby, a freshman at Auburn. So he's very young, very, very young, but he's being pushed heavily. And to tell you the truth, it also doesn't really make much sense because you would think there's a lot of other people in the space you would push. Why are they bringing about somebody no one's ever heard of with seemingly no platform, possibly? But maybe he does. Maybe he does have a big following. I think here on his personal account, he's got about, okay, there you go. He's got 200,000 followers already, and I heard about him yesterday. So I would be curious to see some of the metrics on how quickly this following was gained and if this account was owned by somebody even before him. Yeah, he's not going to handle any of the groypers well. Yeah, of course he's not. And that's part of it too, which is like, do you guys, and let's be honest here, I don't come from the donor class. I don't come from, I would even say, an elite class. And this is no dig on my parents. My dad did a fantastic job, but we are in no way, shape, or form did we come from an elite family home. How many of you guys in chat, put a one in chat if you guys came from a GOP donor elite class, put a 2 in chat if you came from anything but. I'm curious to see if how much of the audience is made up of people who came from families who own private jets. And then that begs the second question, which is, do you guys honestly think that someone who comes from a family who's flying around in private jets at the age of 21 would be able to represent you and your issues and what you see are the problems here in America? No, of course not. Has he met with AIPAC yet? We're going to get to that. Because I'm sure you already know exactly what he supports in the Middle East. He quite literally is a color copy of Charlie Kirk. You know, Charlie Kirk actually had some size on him, to be honest. He's a bit bigger. Yeah, I'm seeing mostly all 2s. Yeah, I think I don't even see a single one. And at this point, maybe somebody's, if they are one, they're not going to put it in there. They're not going to out themselves now. It's funny. So let's go to the Ben Shapiro appearance. This is going to be a bit longer. It's probably the longest clip we're going to watch so far. We have a longer one from Nick. We'll watch. Put this back on screen. It's from Chief Shumster. The reason he's been so astroturfed is due to his family being mega GOP donors from the start. Nothing about him is organic. That's why he's now being propped up by Con Inc. And so here we have it, a quote tweet from himself. It's about a 4-minute appearance here with Ben Shapiro. Let's take a listen and see some of maybe their policy positions, maybe get an idea of who he is. Take a listen, because I'm going to be reacting with you guys too.
One of the people who's going to be doing a full TPUSA sponsored college speaking tour is Brilyn Hollyhand. He's a 19-year-old political commentator. He's best-selling author of One Generation Away, Why Now is the Time to Restore American Freedom. He's chair of the RNC's Youth Advisory Council, and he's host of his own show, The Brilyn Hollyhand Show. Brilyn, thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Ben, thanks for having me. Happy Friday. I appreciate the opportunity.
So first of all, why don't we talk about...
Dude, that's okay. He might not even be human. He might not even be human. That was unreactive. Hi, how are you doing? Yes. I do love Israel. Yes. Right to exist. Yes, I do believe. Hamas. Okay, I'm sorry. I interrupted. Let's go back to it.
The Brilyn Hollyhand Show. Brilyn, thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Ben, thanks for having me. Happy Friday. I appreciate the opportunity.
So first of all, why don't we talk about what exactly the college speaking tour is going to constitute? How many colleges are you hitting? Which ones are they? And what are you going to be talking about?
You know, Ben, what man meant for evil, the Lord is now using for good. And what's become clear in the last week is that you can kill a man, but you can't kill a movement. And all across this country, we're seeing an uprising of the next generation waking up to the fact with seeds of revival being planted across this country. What this assassin, this coward, in an attempt to shut our generation up, he actually woke us up. And we're going to be traveling to these campuses to speak to young people that are more energized than ever before. So I
mean, bro got the wrong message. He saw Charlie Kirk get shot and he was like, I'll go do it too. It's like, bro, the message is actually the debate's over. Hey, brother, you can just pack it up, man. Everyone here got the message. It's actually that stuff is over. No reason to talk to these people anymore, man. That was the message, actually. I don't know what message you got, brother. Well, it probably came from Israel, to be fair. Nativist friend, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, dude, he is normal SpongeBob. Yeah, the round one with no holes. Hi, how are you doing? Oh, I'm good. Thanks for asking. Oh, how are the kids today? Wife doing good? Like just zero personality. Hi, how are you? Let's
Kicked
keep
off the
going.
tour last night at the University of Arkansas to a sold-out auditorium of over 500 students that packed out to come see us with 1 week notice. We're going to 9 other campuses, so 10 campuses total all across this country, because so many young people are eager to get off the sidelines right here, right now, because they're waking up to the fact, Ben, that this is no longer red versus blue. This is a fight of good versus evil. They want to be on the side of good. They want to pay attention to politics. This is no longer a fight of just their parents' or grandparents' arena. They want to get in the arena now, and it's so cool to see.
So,
Dog, you think they would have let me start a TPUSA chapter? I seriously thought about it. Should I? They're not gonna let me in. I'm gonna sign Atlas WANGHAF. That's like what I'm gonna sign my name to be. But let me pose this, and I hate to interrupt. This will be very short. How do I start an America First chapter? Maybe somebody knows. Can we do that? Can we start that possibly? I would love to. I'm out here in Ohio, dog. I got plenty of people. I can start moving some pieces. Just tell me when and where and who to contact. I'll be right there with it. Let's go back. Let's listen to more of normal SpongeBob.
why don't we talk about the kind of stuff that you're going to be talking about on this tour? Obviously, I'm sure free speech is going to come up. What safety precautions, number one, are you taking? And number two, what kind of topics are you tackling?
2 weeks ago, I didn't have to travel with a security detail. That's like a brand new concept to me. It's kind of a crazy world to live in, that like a college freshman can't walk to classes himself or like go on a campus, the one place you're supposed to have like a free exchange of ideas without like armed men in suits and guns. Like that's an insane concept to me, Ben. But sadly, that's the reality that we live in today in 2025 in America. I will say that what we're going to be doing is continuing Charlie's legacy of championing civil discourse. That's what he lived and died doing, and we want to continue that baton on these campuses.
I'm gonna note too, that is so basic. So basic. I see it from so many of the conservative creators, dude. It's just copy and paste, copy and paste. It's the same issue I have with all their content too. Like all the videos, I'm using StreamYard. I'm not trying to take shots at anybody because I'm friends with a lot of these guys, but still. Here's a clip. I react to it. It's like it's so basic. It's like there's no contextualization. I get people probably like reactions too, but it's like, come on, dog. We can't like do a little bit of editing. Can't do a little bit of like, pizzazz, right? Like add a little bit to it, man. You want Aspen go to react to your video. You don't want it to, just like fall to the wayside and be a flash in the pan.
The one place that you're supposed to have free expression right now is the one place that's being censored. So we want to continue that. And what I want to be really clear is what we're seeing today is the result of higher education and liberal indoctrination starting during the hippies movement in the 60s and 70s, where these activists and teachers' clothing seeped into our education system and starting the indoctrination at higher ed. And now they've gotten all the way down to kindergarten, teaching pronouns to our kindergartners. We've got to stop that. So we're going to the root cause of the problem. We're going to these college campuses. And what I'm trying to be really clear to our generation today is what we're seeing in America today is a result of our generation being raised to believe that politics and faith are taboo topics. We were told that we couldn't talk about politics and faith at the dinner table. We were told that we couldn't talk about politics and faith out in public. Therefore, when our generation gets frustrated about politics and faith, we don't know how to communicate with each other. We just know how to scream at each other. We know how to assassinate each other. We know how to, paint our hair blue, get a nose ring and a bullhorn.
He has some good canned responses. I'll give him that. Indies. I'm kind of just curious now at this point. How long has he been doing it? He's very he is articulate. He could be reading from a teleprompter, but he's doing it. He's doing it well. But I'm no fan of the guy. Just being objective.
Shut down a college campus and protest, but we don't know how to actually sit down at a table and have a free discourse of ideas, Ben. So that's why I'm going to this campus. We had a really good conversation last night. Some people agreed, some people disagreed, but guess what? We all had it civilly. That's what we have to champion on these college campuses.
Now, Brilyn, it does feel like there is a gigantic movement that was already arising, obviously, before Charlie was killed. It is now multiplied in size and effect. So,
yeah, that's a good call. Who said that? Tactical dish soap. You are absolutely correct. It's behind the chat, actually. I'll turn the chat off. Where is it at? Is it this one? Oh, I have the background. Let me just do this. You can see that book. It's One Generation Away. That's the title. I can't tell if it's written by him, but it does say Hollyhand on the bottom. I would doubt his dad read it or wrote it. But yeah, good call. Who was that? Tactical dish soap. Good call. He's freshman in college. I'm not sure how old that would make him. Like 19 probably.
So a bit of controversy broke out over a social media video that you did introducing the tour. You were sitting on a private plane, and so people were getting uptight with you for being on a private plane while making this video. What's your take on that?
I've been in politics for 8 years. I've never flown private before. I flew private last night because to make it to this tour, I had to lead English class in the afternoon and make it really in a tight turnaround to get to the speech in Arkansas.
Have you guys seen The Righteous Gemstones? Is this not Gideon from The Righteous Gemstones? Has anybody seen The Righteous Gemstones? Please tell me. I like this guy. This is Gideon from The Righteous Gemstones. That's who's talking right now. If anyone's seen that series, tell me I'm wrong, dude. This guy is Gideon. That is Dan, what's his name? Mr. McBride's son in that series, who plays him. I forget the actor's name, but that's Gideon, bro. Like, that is who this guy is. Absolutely, like, identical copy of that kid.
Not my plan of the future. I've been commercial for 8 years. I'll fly this afternoon commercial to speak at a Faith and Freedom Conference in North Carolina. I'll be flying commercial next week to my speeches. That's the life I live. I can't afford private. A very nice person offered this flight.
Okay, it's going to say a bunch of nonsense. I got to show you guys this. Let me find this. Oh my gosh, I have to find this. For everybody who doesn't know.
I built Tinder.
Oh my gosh. I just want to show you, because it's not even just the fact that they look like each other, but it's the fact that they sound like each other. Okay, so this is the kid.
Read signs at almost killed in a work accident.
Let me see if we can find him talking somewhere.
Your sarcasm.
I've been doing that. Look, but I don't want to.
Can't even turn his head.
Maybe help him out instead of being a damn dick.
Yeah, maybe we'll find a good clip. I don't want to get clipped, but this is he's basically like a pastor's son, who's basically everyone knows he's like the heir apparent to the throne to take over for like the old guys once they're done pastoring, because it's like in the family line. Just to give a bit of lore there, but yeah, I think that's like an identical comparison to this guy. Is Gideon from The Righteous Gemstones. So there you go. You have Mr. Ben Shapiro puffing him on his own show, and then it's more than that though too. You know, you have the New York Post having the puff piece as well, but beyond that, you also have the I stand with Israel aspect. And so with this, you have from Sam Parker, again, similar to me, I have never heard of Brilyn Hollyhand, but it only took about 10 seconds to figure out why he's popping up in my feed all of a sudden with millions of views. And then he goes on to highlight anti-Israel, must stand with Israel. We stand with Israel. Republicans proudly stand with Israel. Israel. So it goes on and goes on. And to be expected, I don't think anyone, I think the surprise would be if the heir apparent was like, down with Israel, right? It's like that. This is clearly going to be the next person in line. They were going to be just like that. They just basically pulled them out of the lab, out of the Dimona nuclear facility in Israel is where they make them. And but that point does stand. I've never heard of Brilyn Hollyhand, but I will say the amount of times, and I'm on YouTube all the time because obviously, and I do look at a lot of other creators, and I got to tell you, there's a lot of people I come across, and it's like they have 300,000 subs or 500,000 subs, and I've never heard of them before. And so I think there is an element which, especially given like the For You and the algorithms, there probably is a bit more of like, maybe you won't know everybody based on the content you consume. Because if YouTube can recognize I only consume Nick Fuentes, it's probably never going to send me a Brilyn Hollyhand, just to be fair, you know, if it is that smart. And so this is from Kai Schwimmer. And again, I like this guy. He streams pretty often. I don't know what his schedule is. But he also tweets this too. And it's a quote of another post from Brilyn Hollyhand. But Kai writes, he's so conflicted about this kid that his gut reaction is disdain. His performative cadence, prepared lines, haircut all make me dislike him. But he's likely the son of popular political pundits playing the cards he was dealt extraordinarily well. I can't hate the player. So basically kind of outlining there that he's conflicted, and this was from when? August 1st, 2025. So this kid was obviously aware of him well before the fact of what happened with Charlie. But then he followed it up with the quote actually of it. I think they have the follow-up here. After the private jet photo, he basically said, okay, my suspicions are confirmed. You're right. We shouldn't trust this guy at all. Basically saying that he's making his rounds on X, was even flagged for his video in a private jet. This tweet aged like fine wine. And then beyond there, though, we also have, more of the promo. I guess we already covered that. But That's who the heir apparent is supposedly going to be, is this individual. Let me actually pull that one back up here. So let's take a listen to him in this clip here, because this is another appearance of him. And this is actually earlier pre the Charlie, so we can see if there's a big difference in his cadence or if he's been doing this for some time. Let's take a listen. This is like a 36 clip from Fox Business.
I'll tell you this, I'm 19 years old, I start college in a week. I spoke on 20 college campuses in the past year. I will tell you firsthand, this is the furthest thing from the truth. We are seeing a pendulum shift to the right that we haven't seen in almost a century. And I was with the president a few weeks ago. I was speaking with him when he came to speak at the University of Alabama. I talked to him backstage and I said, Mr. President, you have something the left doesn't have. You have a secret weapon. And he could tell he got interested. He came across from me and said, what is that, Brilyn? I said, it's this little unknown thing in politics. It's really rare. It's called actually doing what you told the voters you would do. That right there is how you keep Gen Z, not only in 26, but also in 28.
I think he said his name's Brilyn. Like Dylan, but with a B. Brilyn? Yeah. Debate Nick. He's going to start getting him like crazy if he's not already. But yeah, supposedly, yes, he's planted said this dude is meeting with the president. Yeah, one of the photos behind him was supposedly him shaking hands with Trump. Somebody said it was AI. It could be, or it could be real. And I don't doubt that. You know, if this guy is the son of a family, not just their father, but a family, because it's both the father and the grandfather. If they're part of this big, GOP donor class, it doesn't surprise me even in the slightest if he has access to Trump, because that's who Trump is buddy-buddy with. That is Trump's base, actually. It is not you, it is not I. It is the donors, and it will always be the donor class, and I don't know if I will ever live to see the day in which the base for politicians will be anything but their donors. But we can hope, and I'm not going to blackpill here, we're going to take the faith of Titan and hope that there are better tomorrows, and we will see that one day our government will be for, by, and of the people. Maybe one day. You would have thought that the Constitution was pretty explicit, but again, I digress. So that's basically the beginning of the Charlie Kirk as we're going to enter into featured stories here. So that is the heir apparent. Now, moving on from there, though, one thing I would like to cover as we begin going back to the assassination itself is Ryan Dawson's article he put out called You Can See the Gun. And he posted this on yesterday. I'm not sure what time, but he posted it on September 25th, 2025. Let me scroll this back over here. This is Ryan Dawson's Substack. You Can See the Gun, or I think it's a Substack, maybe his own website. You Can See the Gun. Now, right here is what I want you guys to pay attention to. Not everything is JFK. So there you have it. You have Ryan Dawson coming out and saying, too, that he is also at least positioning himself away from claiming Israel did it with no reservations. And this is somebody who is typically, for the most part, oppositional to Nick, because they just disagree with each other all the time, and they have personal beef as well. But take that for what it is. And then you have this. Because from the video, it wasn't in his backpack, it was just wrapped in a towel. So Ryan Dawson is saying he believes for sure that it is seen here. I just made the point that I do not believe that this will hold up in court. I don't think if the Kyle Rittenhouse video was not upheld in court, this one will definitely not be upheld in court. And so I think that there is a major problem that if they cannot connect the gun to him at the time, there is a major flaw in the argument in the prosecution's case. And but his point is exactly what I have been saying for this entire time, which is that all of the stuff we have gotten from ever since the initial information has only been making things worse. Like, no one believes what's going on with the bullet. The autopsy information doesn't make any sense. Andrew Corvette is clearly lying. The evacuation plan seemed like it was completely botched. The security details seemed like it was completely just non-existent. And this is in the light of the Trump assassination attempts, multiple of them at that. And then he even makes this claim here he also thinks that the 150 million claim is BS. Now, it's just the point to be made that why aren't people screaming and raging at Ryan Dawson? Another OG anti-Zionist who has been banned and run through the ringer like Nick, maybe not as much. Where's all that flack? So the point being here is that what I'm seeing is a lot of these OGs who have been in the space for quite some time, going hard against Israel, have been saying, hold your horses. So make of that what you will. And it is, and obviously, I'm not making fun of Ryan Dawson because he's got a smaller following. I'm just saying you would expect if people had thought they're all getting a call. So did Ryan Dawson get the call too? Or is that not a reasonable position to hold? I don't know. You guys tell me. I think it's reasonable. I'm just curious why Nick's the only one that's being screamed about, getting the call. But part of that probably is because he's bigger. It's more prominent. And Ryan Dawson does a little bit of that to himself, to be honest. But again, the point stands though. There's another major OG in the space who is going, no, and none of this makes sense. He's not saying, I believe the official narrative. He's just saying, like, come on, we don't have enough yet. We're still in the dark, and none of this makes sense. And it's opening itself up for more speculation. The more they keep coming out, and they're like, actually, it was a miracle. And shut up, don't ask me more questions. It's like, okay, I have a lot more questions now. I have a lot more things I would like to ask and tell you. And so we'll get to Erica Kirk hosting the Charlie Kirk show. So put that on screen here. This is what we have from AF Post. This is her hosting the Charlie Kirk show. Before we get to that, though, one thing I'd like to show you is this photo. And so he starts with, this might be unpopular, but I actually do feel him on this. Well, that pause. I agree with this take. That's an awful way to say that. He says, this might be unpopular, but I find it very weird how Widow has stepped into the CEO role, delivered 2 speeches, one at a stadium memorial where Charlie's parents weren't even present, and is already going on podcast just 2 weeks after her husband was assassinated, instead of being home with their 2 young children who just lost their dad. And again, it has all the appearances of someone who's, and I'm not expecting her to be weeping every time I see her. You just would expect that you probably wouldn't be in the public spotlight for some time. You would think that you would be not 2 weeks after the children of your father was taken from you and your children, that you would then put your children back in a daycare service or with someone else and continue. And it's just, there's a lot of things I could probably go on and say, but the point stands, people are speculating and they do not believe and are not buying what Erica Kirk is selling, which is that she actually feels bad about what has happened. So to move back to the actual video, here's a snippet, 1.5 minutes, her, Andrew Corvette, whoever this Tim Pool lookalike is, and then some other twink looking guy. Here we go, 1.5 minutes. Let's see how it went.
Yeah, we're just so glad you're here.
No, I'm grateful. I mean, I know we talked about this. We prayed on it. We really tried to discern properly how to go about the next few stages and steps of everything. And we've been very intentional in a way that always keeps Charlie first and his dreams alive and his legacy going. And what's so beautiful is to see all of you step in and do that. And so part of the reason why I agreed to come on, because this is not going to be a forever thing of me being on hosting the show, was because I gave assurance to people that Turning Point USA is continuing, and it is. I mean, we are so blessed to have more work than we even could ever dream of. I mean, it's beautiful, and Turning Point Action, full steam ahead, so powerful. All of the other programs within Turning Point USA, everyone knows what they're doing. Everyone has their marching orders. And the show, when we talked about this, became very intimate for me because I was there from the beginning of all of it.
So, and I did, whoever said that earlier, the covert feminist flank, I've also been thinking that too. Is this in some attempt to push for, women to be at the lead of some of these places, but to carry out a full-blown assassin for just that to be the motive, I don't think that tracks. But it feels very, very, very airy, media trained, very performative. And I got to be honest, I would think that you would have analysts and people who probably do the marketing and the strategy and the research would probably tell you, like, hey, for the best kind of, media marketing for yourself and as well as Charlie and TPUSA in general, we'll probably expect that, you're probably going to sit out of the public spotlight for, maybe, at least a month or so, maybe even 2 months at that, kind of let things die down, kind of take all the spotlight and the heat off of you and then, come back too. And then like, it doesn't, she's like going full steam ahead. It's almost like they had plans in place beforehand, almost, the way that they're kind of operating with this. I got to tell you what, I don't know if I buy the full blown, she's an asset. She's like, she works for Trump and she's connected to the Romanian angels and all of that, which I'll be honest, I haven't looked into too much, but I probably should now at this point. And I'll react to a little bit from Nick. And I haven't seen the show from last night from Nick. I haven't seen this clip either, but it's like 10 minutes long. He covers a lot of this and what he's open to listening to about her. So I'll react to that, and that'll be the end, what we'll end on here. But I got to be honest. I'm like beginning to lose sight of like, what is the motivation? Like, what are they getting, right? What is the clear, actionable goal to get out of this? And is it the speech parameters? I can't believe that. I feel like people chimped out about the hate speech stuff from Bondi pretty early on, and it's kind of gone away now. So I'm kind of curious personally, like, what's the motivation here? And maybe it is in the motivation of, they want women at the front. They want to continue this kind of subversion of the patriarchy. Maybe that's an element of it. I don't know. But it's beginning to be hard to tell. And again, because it's so very, very in the dark, like what is going on. So, we'll cover a couple of things before we go to the Nick reaction. We have the fact that there's leaked audio coming out that supposedly there's no autopsy. So we'll take a listen to this. This is from the Diligent Denizen, an account here on X, got a decent following. And there's a couple people who have posted this in particular. But this says the Utah Dispatcher states that there was no autopsy done on Charlie Kirk. He did not go in for an autopsy. The death certificate was signed by the doctor at the hospital. So we'll take a listen to this and see if you guys can't hear anything else that's gets said in this. Turn it down a little bit. Might be too much.
So I did do the request. They emailed me back. He did not go in for an autopsy. The death certificate was signed by the doctor at the hospital.
Oh, okay. Can you just do a field clip documenting that?
I'm sorry, 10-9?
Can you just add a step to the case documenting that there was no autopsy? And
Did you catch that? Can you just add to the document there's no autopsy?
10-9?
Can you just add a step to the case documenting that there was no autopsy? And
287, I'll be clear to the hospital. I need an officer at Timpanogos Hospital to come stage in the emergency room bay.
Jesse just told me that he just got on the phone and Charlie's wife is coming to signature and they're bringing a car over here for arraignment.
Charlie's wife is coming to land at signature, you said?
Sir, and Jesse's going to go to Duncan right now and pick up a car for her.
Okay, I'm a little confused because that's what Corey just said. They said they're landing at Duncan, so I don't know where they're landing, but we will just kind of play it by ear, I guess, best that we can.
This is playing by ear, best as we can. They seem kind of confused as well too, and the reason why this is actually very, very concerning in the actual narrative here. And if anybody who didn't watch any of my coverage on the autopsy information on the initial stream when we were steel manning the official narrative, in Utah particularly, they have specific laws that require autopsies to be handled a specific way in cases of homicide. So now this is curious. Why did they, if this is true, and it probably is, why did they break the law? What gave them reason to break the law? Who did they get the order to not do things that as normal? And lo and behold, who's coming to sign? It's Eric Kirk. We don't know if she signed, but that's who they're saying is coming to sign. I believe they said the case document, probably to finish off the paperwork for that to get him transported. So then you think about it and you go, well, this is kind of odd. Because here she is on this front. And it's also odd because why are no questions being asked? Why is everyone just going along with it? So I did something earlier today, and I'm sure you guys might not be shocked by it, but I have 4 people we're going to go look to. I'm curious who you guys think I should go search next. But watch this. I went here first. I went, you know, who's a pundit, you know, who's a Catholic. I would imagine, like, you know, Michael Knowles would probably have made a post about the fact that the autopsy's been, you know, not talked about, non-existent for, I don't know, you know, almost 2 weeks now. So, you know, let's see. Michael Knowles he definitely had to say something about it, right? Like, okay, let's see. What did Michael Knowles say about autopsy? What? What? Really? Nothing? Okay. All right. You know, maybe Michael Knowles was busy. Michael Knowles was busy, dude. He didn't have time to talk about it. I was like, okay, like, all right. Well, Matt Walsh, dude, he's a workhorse, brother. He gets stuff done, dude. He's always pumping it out. Matt Walsh, dude, he's just going, dude. I'm sure he's got to say something about this autopsy. Oh yeah, back in 2022, about another story. And if we scroll, we just keep going back further in time. Okay, well, you know, maybe they were both busy. Maybe they were on a vacation or something together. Like, okay, that's definitely it. They were both like on vacation or something. We know this guy's working. We know this guy's working. All right, Ben, dude, like, what do you think about the autopsy that's not here? It's non-existent. Oh, but we see in 2014 that, you know, raise both hands if they don't give a damn about autopsy results. But let's look at the latest. Oh, it's from March 25th about George Floyd's autopsy. Oh, man, okay, man, dang, the whole Daily Wire crew is crazy. Okay, well, you know who I also can think's a real workhorse Monday through Friday. He lets the audience know all the time. You know, okay, Tim, right? Tim's had to have said something about this autopsy, man. He works all day long. He tells us every day. He reads the news. All right, Tim, what you got for us, man? What's Tim's take on this? What's Tim's take on the autopsy? I did. Oh, it's been what? It's September 26th, right? So it has been more than 2 weeks. We have no autopsy data, and not a single one of from the four biggest conservative pundits in the mainstream have a single word to say about it. So Candace. Okay, Candace. Candace is a good one. I guarantee Candace has said something about it because she's the only one that's on the other side. Let's go, Candace. Well, I probably should have went top for Candace. Yeah, Candace and Tucker. These are some good ones, okay? Let's go, Candace. Autopsy. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Okay, let's go to Tucker then. All right. Tucker's had to have said something about an autopsy, right? Why do they keep staying stuck on ladies? What is this? This is just pure gossip. Your faith calls you to make righteous judgment. How can you call yourselves Christians while mocking a grieving mother? How about nobody's mocking her, nobody believes her? How about you not being an assumptive prude and hear words that are coming out of our mouths? And maybe people are being a bit mocking in the chat, but like, no, nobody believes her. No one's mocking her. It's that nobody believes her. They said, hey, I see what you're doing. I think you're lying to me. Oh, wow, we should just feel bad and just go along with it because, yeah, women, dude. You know what? Maybe I am going to use a voice modulator. I'm going to make my voice so high-pitched to women to leave this and stop coming to my chat to give the most retarded takes I've ever seen in my life. And if you're not a woman, you're a black guy, whoever's in that profile picture. So, yeah, 2 for 2, I guess. Doug Carlson. All right, back to it. Back to it. Okay, Doug Carlson. Autopsy. It's beginning to be a little unbelievable. It's beginning to be a little unbelievable. Where? What? How? Why? Nobody? Surely that someone on this platform has said anything about Charlie Kirk autopsy. Maybe X is just hiding results from me. Oh, no, people are talking about it. Just nobody that seemingly matters. Adam says, what did his wife sign that they were referencing? Is that signature a way to bypass the autopsy? I believe it's it would be I would imagine it's a death certificate. I would imagine that's probably what she's signing. Or, confirming, or even on just the case document itself, probably something like that. But I don't know if it's to bypass the autopsy or if that just basically moves along the process. But yeah, I would be curious to know what specific document it was that she did sign. Thank you, Tex. Bro, somebody is brand new here. And I'm not saying that to be rude to women, man. But you guys come in with just, like, it makes me want to take my keyboard and just beat myself. I'd go harder, but I don't want to rip my suit or break my computer. That's just what it is. Okay, so where are we at? Okay, so no autopsy. Leaked audio that says no autopsy. We have nobody talking about the autopsy. And not even that, we have nobody even asking questions about the autopsy. And so here's the crazy thing, right? All of these people, right? All of these people are saying relentlessly that it's such a travesty that Andrew Colvett and Alex Clark and TPUSA staffers, Erica Kirk of all people, they have to come out and they have to address all of these anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. But the issue is nothing makes sense. And the reason why people are getting more angry is because the people they're expecting to ask questions have suddenly went silent, hushed. The room has gone suddenly very dark. And then next thing you know, there's fireworks playing. Megachurch style, Joel Osteen, Chad Prather. Trump and Erica Kirk are like basically making out on the podium while his family's not present at the memorial service. It's too much. It's getting to be too much. And it's not even speculation now at this point. Now it begins to feel like someone is slapping me in the face. Like, what do you mean you're not asking questions? What do you mean it's distasteful to say what's going on here? What are you talking about? A lot of gaslighting going on. Feminine tactics at that. Charlie Spirits in Israel. That's hilarious. Let's see a sunrise. So, in the midst of all of that, it just, that's what we have going on. It's mind-numbingly just getting retarded at this point. And I think Ryan Dawson makes a great point, which is, what do you expect people to do? They don't trust any of the systems. You're not giving them anything to go off of. And the entire narrative is, he's made of steel, his neck is this beautiful bone. It's like, even at that, you would think you'd get an autopsy to be like, brother, what was his bone made out of? We need to like figure out what his bone material is made out of, dude. We need to make nukes out of that stuff. We're not even getting that. So, I don't know, man. But what I will say is that there is another theory coming to life amidst all of this, and that is that, from the pagers being weapons from the Israelis, what we're getting is, and I'll be honest, there is a specific still frame that I saw that is it is very telling, but I'm no ballistics expert. But I got to be honest, the frame that I saw, and I'm not going to play it because I just want to take the risk. It appears to look like that mic is exploding through his neck. I'm just saying, as not an expert, just somebody who watched it, the still frame. But even if it wasn't that, the still frame clearly looks like it is going through the right-hand side, out the exit wound, which does go in line with Zeb Boykin from OTL. And many others, I'm just saying him because I think he deserves a lot of credit. But probably many others who are pushing that too, which is that there was an alternate angle that was taken. The one that Taylor Hanson tried to downplay by pointing his camera at it and saying, man, can you believe people believe this? And then just went on. What? And I'm like, I like Taylor Hanson, bro, but it was like, you think you can flash a camera for like 18 seconds in 2 different spots and be like, well, okay, debunked. It wasn't here. Like, dude, I don't know. Maybe he has brain damage. Anyways, I like Taylor Hanson. And so this is more leaked audio. So this is the second one that I didn't actually look into too much because it's right before I actually went getting ready to go live. This is from Hustle Bitch as well. Wish he had a better name, but it is what it is. FBI warns, don't interview him. Listen closely. Dispatch audio captures multiple instructions not to interview a person of interest immediately after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I'm curious if this is also the same individual that we have seen that I've not seen a good explanation for, who was basically grabbed by his friends when he was trying to tell somebody what was going on, literally right after the event had taken place. So here is supposedly, again, more leaked audio here. And this is going to be another like minute clip here.
Just 10-14, I'm still about 15 out, but the 1-2 unit that's going to be up there to interview, as per SBI and FBI, we've been given clear direction not to interview, confirming negative interview until they get there.
140, we were not going to interview. We are just arriving now.
Copy that.
Building 151. This was relayed by Salt Lake. They're advising a complainant called 911, and he was stating there's an APB out on him for the shooting at UVU. He's now pinging at the Urban Pioneer Cafe at SMBB break.
I was just told that the FBI wants you to stand by there with him, and they're on their way to you. Thank you. And that came from the agent that's leaving Provo PD right now.
Interesting. So it's more of a stand down order, but it looks like that was quoted in there. As per SBI and FBI, we've been given clear direction not to do interview. So it sounds like that was dispatch telling the agent on the ground, stand by, just wait for FBI, don't do anything, don't take it any further. More grains of sand in this massive invisible heap that's preventing so much from occurring. And it's just not a good feeling, man. And truth be told, whatever you think about Trump or, Nick or Sam Hyde or whatever you think about any of these people, the reality is we basically have once again fumbled momentum and, political, a political free runway, as Sam Hyde put it, to get a lot of things done while people were well within the emotional bounds of what happened to Charlie. And it's very unfortunate. It is. And it not to say like I think his death will be in vain. I think many individuals like myself and many of you guys here in this chat will keep the good elements. I hate even saying it like that. We'll keep Charlie's spirit alive in you as you continue through your lives and personal lives, and the way that you treat your wives and your children, and the way you present yourself to your community, the way you interact with people at church. I'm sure that will live on, and that's good, and many others around this country too. But we needed actual legal action. We needed stronger rhetoric from our magistrate. That's what we needed. Tariq Mustate said, "Do I rap?" A long time ago in college, I did. Never again, though. Probably. I might no, I'm never gonna say anything like that. People beg me to. No, but I did in college actually. I'll go on a side note. I don't know if many people know this. I had a very tight knit group of friends in college. They were all from it. No, I had a tight knit group of friends from college. We were very tight knit, and I actually lived with a separate group of guys until I moved in with them. For like my last 2 years there at the Ohio State University, and we were all creators. We all loved creation. That's all kind of what we wanted to do, and. Yeah, it's just a joke. I said Israel. It was just a joke. None of them are from Israel. The one ended up turning into I think he turned a podcast into like a hip hop review channel for a little while. He's successful here on YouTube. He now runs a soccer sports channel I'm not going to name him because I know I am probably politically toxic to a lot of people, so I'm not going to name any of them. A couple others, one went on to do big and bright things, between like NFL and NBA. He's got a pretty strong grasp over social media. And another one went out west and did a lot of, photography work for celebrities, people that you would know on a first and last name basis. And it was in that group that we literally were critiquing each other to extreme degrees, but not in the way that we're just trying to tear each other down, but we did so in a meaningful sense. And I've probably said multiple times, and I'll say it here again, if it was not for those guys, I probably would not be here in front of you right now. They pushed me to be better than, the apathetic current state of society wanted me to be. And so if it wasn't for them pushing me and telling me, yeah, you could do a bit better. Hey, you have a good voice, use it. I probably wouldn't be here. So props to them. And that's what I think a lot of men need, is that brotherhood element. I think a lot of guys don't have any ounce of brotherhood at all outside of what they can reach in the digital world and Discord. And don't get me wrong, Discord is a great thing. And it's great to have as a source of being able to keep people, rounded, cohesive, and build movements. But at the end of the day, you also need a group of, a person that a brother you can like touch, a brother you can hug, a brother you can like, invest into and be around in daily life and all of that too. But I understand how difficult it is, but just to go on a side point there. Don't ever ask me about my personal life again. Ban 'em. Mods, ban 'em. I'm just messing. So that's that there. And one final element before we go ahead and react to the Nick take on Erica Kirk. It's going to be the ADL being in a full-blown panic. Now, a funny element of it was amazing, which was a lot of the delegates, and I believe it's from the UN, walked out, almost like 90% of them. So here's a photo of the chambers. I'll put it on screen here. Look how empty that is. Look how empty that is. There's only a few delegates. There's a video, you can find it, of them all basically leaving and walking out. Even as he's walking up to the podium, they were gone as he was even preparing to have a speech, which is funny. And the ADL, however, is in a full-blown panic over the fact that it looks like the support for Israel is continually dying. So we'll go back to this and we'll listen to Jonathan Greenblatt cry victim for another 50 seconds. But here's where the ADL is.
This year, ADL's Global 100 survey of anti-Semitic attitudes around the world found a 46% shift. 46% of the adult population, 2.2 billion people, harbor elevated levels of anti-Semitism. That's nearly double the rate that we saw a decade ago. For the first time since we started tracking these attitudes in the 1960s, the younger generation is more likely to hold elevated anti-Jewish views than their parents or grandparents. Let me repeat that. The younger generation is more likely to be anti-Semitic than the older one. This year.
Okay. Yeah, rookie number. Yeah, rookie numbers. Or maybe take the hint that not only is the youth here in America done, it's clear with this photo, and I'll put it up on screen again. It is clear, Mr. Jonathan Greenblatt, I know you have one of your guys listening to me right now, probably on Palantir Kill List too. The world is done listening to this victimhood, this oh woe is me, this crying as they strike you, crying as they nuke you, crying as they drone strike you, crying as they set pagers off in your community. Just, yeah. So there's that. And, the majority of the delegates end up walking out. But the funny clip that we pulled from this, actually, which is kind of just, it's so on the nose. Or maybe it's not this one. I'm going to find the other one. Oh, no, this is the second one I wanted to go to. I'll go to the first one here. But this is the second one, which is from Netanyahu. Western leaders, I'm telling you that Israel will not allow you to work towards establishing a Palestinian state. I mean, imagine the gall. And you kind of think about it too, like, and there's a certain element where you go, like we're just the UN, or like the UN, or anybody there from America. You just look at them, And you ever get that feeling like when, you know, somebody younger than you or somebody who's like dumb, or maybe it's a woman. I'll just keep talking shit about women because it's funny. And they're in your element. So for example, say you work on cars, you've been a mechanic for 20 years, and then some hotshot prick walks in and he's entirely, completely wrong about something, and he's telling you that you're wrong, and you're just sitting there going, I want to punch this dude. Like, I just want to punch this guy. Why is that not the reaction from, you know, everyone else when they see this tiny nation who's like lying nonstop, you know, is like the source of so many problems, especially geopolitically. And you don't just go, hey dog, say that again. I'm going to come take your nukes from you personally. I'm going to grab your hand with my hand and make you sign into the NTP. Like, I just don't get why we don't just like sit him down and say, hey man, we're at the adults table right now. The way you're behaving is unacceptable. Do that again, and there will be consequences. Like, I don't understand how we just don't have that way of interaction with them. And honestly, it should be. It's just pathetic that it's not. But the thing I wanted to go to first, actually, which is kind of funny and odd and so very, 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 very telling because it's clearly on the top of his head, is exactly this. This is what we have here from AF Post. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu stated that Palestinians had celebrated the October 7th attacks by dancing on the rooftops. And he claimed, yeah, it was them, it was Palestinians on the rooftops, and claimed recognizing a Palestinian state sends a very clear message. I don't even know if I could say that out loud on this channel right now on a live stream. But let's take a listen. I'll let him say it verbatim. 1:34. But that's what he says. Now saying I'm not a pussy. He says murdering Jews pays off. That's what he says the message is being sent. So let's take a listen. What does he have to say? Let's take a listen, Mr. Netanyahu.
This week, the leaders of France, Britain, Australia, Canada, and other countries unconditionally recognized a Palestinian state. They did so after the horrors committed by Hamas on October 7th. Horrors praised on that day by nearly 90% of the Palestinian population. And let me say that again. Nearly 90% of Palestinians supported the attack on October 7th. It's not supported only, they celebrated. They danced on the rooftops. They threw candies.
I never heard that part. They threw candy.
That's both in Gaza and in Judea, Samaria, the West Bank, as you call it.
Well, that's the part I wanted to listen to. Yeah. Oy vey. Like, what are we doing, bro? like there's probably a bunch of different celebrations he could have listed off, but he listed off the one that he knew would probably get clicks. Like, it almost seemed like he planned to say that. It was a prepared thing to say. Like, he didn't just, you know, what's it called? A Freudian slip. I don't think it was that. I think that was orchestrated to draw clicks and get attention on this. So that's a bit with that. Autopsy, we covered that. We're going to go to Nick's take on Eric Kirk. And this is what we're going to go ahead. We're going to end on this, but this is a long one. It's about 10 minutes long. And it's him responding to someone who sent in a super chat about some of the connections that have been brought up. I believe by the account is like called Sir Escanor on X. Has been going pretty viral because they've been covering and making a lot of threads about this. So follow them if you want to know more about that. Mr. Fuentes updates, and it says, the way Erica Kirk has been presented to us after Charlie Kirk's murder is very suspicious. Quote, they're foisting her on us as a political leader, and that I don't like. That's manipulative, and that is predatory. Isn't the word hoisting? No, am I dumb? Isn't it with an H? Isn't it hoisting? Brown hands typed this. Just kidding. Kind of. Let's take a listen. Because I didn't watch any of the show last night, so I'm curious what he knows or what he's going to say about this. We're going to go ahead and let it rip.
You know, the thing about...
Okay, I guess I'll read the super chat. It's from Sam I Am. It says, hey, Nick, wondering what you know/think about Romanian angels along with Erica's possible past connection to Trump via Miss Arizona. The timing with blocking the release of the Epstein files, Kirk's death, and WWE-style funeral is bizarre. Talk about honeypot. Have you ever seen the movie Hostel? If you know, you know. Here we go.
You know, the thing about Erica Kirk is I 100% believe that that's an arranged marriage. Charlie and Erica, I do not believe for 1 second that they met organically. How do you think they met each other? Do you think that they bumped into each other at CPAC and Charlie said, hey, let's go on a date? No, they were set up together by somebody. Who set them up? Charlie, I'm sure, he's super ambitious, super powerful, running this organization. They told him you need a wife. I'm sure he wants a wife. They told him you need a wife. If you want to run for office, you need a wife and kids, you need a family. They're grooming him to be super powerful. So he's hanging out at Bohemian Grove and they say, we need to give you a wife. We know somebody. We know this girl. And she's in some out of.
Well, I just caught that. You said hanging out at Bohemian Grove. That's kind of funny. But I do believe they met each other on a trip to Israel.
They know her. Who set them up and where did this girl come from that's going to be Charlie Kirk's wife and bear his children? I think that was an arranged marriage. And that tells me that she is tapped into some kind of network in some way. I don't know how. People talk about she was a pageant girl and she ran this charity. Maybe there's a connection there. I would not be surprised at all. That, if you're talking about Erica Kirk, that I believe. People say Israel killed Charlie Kirk. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Let's look at the marriage. Erica Kirk is now taking over Turning Point. That's suspicious as fuck. What we are being led to believe.
And additionally, if you didn't catch that as well, too, when we watched her 1.5-minute clip of her being on the Charlie Kirk show today, she says it's not going to be a regular thing that I'm going to be hosting the show. So inevitably, what's going to happen is, as the previous CEO, Charlie Kirk, was in the visible purview. He was always out in the open. So what's happening now is TPUSA CEO is leaving the public eye and is moving back to the shadows. And what I would imagine is this Brilyn Hollyhand kid is going to take the role of the leader on that show. Maybe they'll rename it or rebrand it, or maybe they won't. Who knows? But that is a bit concerning that Erica is lined up to take all of this, be a public figure, and then it's going to step into the shadows.
Is that Erica Kirk is the archetypal trad girl. Isn't that the perception they're cultivating? When you look at some of these clips, she's supposed to be the ultimate trad wife. She's speaking at the Young Women's Leadership Summit. She's on podcasts saying, oh my gosh, I can't focus because I'm so in love with Charlie. If he's here, I can't focus. I'm so smitten. Like, that's the character that she's playing. That's the character that they're selling us. Her husband gets shot in the neck graphically in front of everybody. Shouldn't Miss Tradwife, shouldn't she be like despondent? And I'm not trying to judge how people grieve. It's not our position to judge how they grieve or what their response is. Maybe she's just got unbelievable resolve. But if she really is the ultimate trad wife who knows her place and is a helper to her husband, a helpmate, and she's so smitten with him and she's the perfect trad wife like how she's been presented to us for years, then when her husband gets shot in the neck and blood starts spurting everywhere in front of everybody who starts screaming and running away, shouldn't she be like in shock? Shouldn't she be like in a catatonic state or crying and be in a veil as a widow somewhere? But that's not what we got at all. The second he dies, she takes over Turning Point.
And additionally, on top of that, one thing that I did catch was her, like, and I was only listening to the memorial service in and out, but it seemed like the most powerful words that she had of the whole thing, beyond like the I forgive him stuff, was when she was like, and men, this is how you treat your wives. And like she was like all motivated about that. It just, again, I think the biggest thing is not even just like, oh, what should she be doing that would be correctly grieving? It's more so the fact that like everything she's doing just seems like something that you wouldn't be doing. And then when you start adding up and it's like, well, 1, okay, 2 is like, and then 3 is like, 4 is like, okay. And 5 is like, something's going on here. So too many at once.
That happened like 2 days later. She's all of a sudden the president of this $500 million organization. super influential, now super powerful after Charlie became a martyr, and she's given speeches. She's given a speech, and the speech, I'm sorry, it's totally canned. The first speech she gave next to his empty chair, she's like doing this weird affect, wiping away tears that aren't there with this scripted speech, you know, the battle cry of this widow, the cries of this widow will echo like a... And then at the WWE Memorial, she comes out to fireworks and she does this like she's Mary in her white suit, her makeup, her hair did. And she goes out with fireworks at her husband's fucking funeral like this. She fucking posed. Did you see that?
Well, and I'm going to add something too. I think the thing that bothers me the most is, and I've said this like 40 times now, so forgive me if you've already heard it, but I don't like that if she's the one who signed the certificate, she doesn't know verbatim even anything from the county coroner or the autopsy, but does this massive public demonstration of, I forgive him, clearly with Tyler Robinson in mind. That basically, that convicts him in public court. That convicts him in the public square. I forgive him. We've not even had a trial yet. No, we don't have enough evidence to even begin thinking about like whatever they're going to press him on. And again, the gun being one of those kind of hold elements. And this kind of circumvents it because in this country, well, if we still even live in America, I don't even know at this point, my neighbors make me second guess that every day. What we do have is innocent until proven guilty. Tyler Robinson has not been proven guilty. Yes, exactly, Adam. Forgive someone we don't even know who did it. And that's the thing. That kind of, for most people, that's all they needed to see that. It's a closed case to them. They'll happily take whatever sentence that kid gets. He has already been convicted in their minds. And that is the same exact thing we have been fighting against on this side, which is what the media does when they basically convict people through accusations. You were convicted the moment your mugshot appears on CNN. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter if you haven't had the court case. It's the fact that CNN ran your mugshot for 24 hours for 3 straight days. It doesn't matter. You have been convicted until you get an overwhelmingly public, outcry of, oh, it wasn't him. I don't like that. It's very slimy.
Then she goes up and says, yeah, I'm running Turning Point now. And this is how it's giving me like Claire Underwood vibes. I think that was an arranged marriage. And either she was like a handler or she had political ambitions of her own. But yeah, I don't know. Look, who is Erica Kirk now? This is a person that is being foisted on us. Look, don't get me wrong. You lost your husband. I am deeply sorry for you. I really am. I'm praying for you. I am deeply sorry for you. I can't imagine what you're going through. But you becoming president of Turning Point and now being foisted upon us, that's an altogether different story. You know, it's like I said on Monday, and Alex Jones didn't like this. He said it was mean. A lot of people didn't like it. You want our sympathy? You got it. You want our prayers? You got it. People would, walk over broken glass for this widow who can even sympathize, who can even understand what she's going through right now. But they're asking us to accept her as like this new leader. They're foisting her on us as a political leader. And that I don't like. I don't like that because that's manipulative. That is predatory. She's the widow. Who can criticize her? She's a widow. Who could ever say anything negative about her? They're exploiting that.
And this is part of the problem when you have so many women in these positions, when so many women fulfill the podcast space, when so many women want to come here and chat just like a little bit ago doing the same exact thing. Oh, how dare you question literally anything but the absolute God-given truth that is Erica's tears. Again, this is why we need only high testosterone men to be in positions of authority. We need men who don't have to go to consensus to run things through a filter that tells them, is this true or not? We need men who can think critically to themselves, alone, by themselves, 1v1, me versus me, and they think, do I think that's true? Not really. Not women who need Google search results to broaden their purview, because if it's not consensual or consensus based, they typically aren't going to move to those positions. And that's part of the problem. And when you have like, there's like 10 women that now have podcasts that work for PBD. Now you have Alex Clark, and you have all these other ones that are on the Daily Wire, whoever took over for, Brett Cooper, and bless her, she's got, a very, very difficult road in front of her. But I think she's also probably nefariously, subverting things and is willful on that end. But it's very true. And this is, again, another argument as to why women need to not be in public life.
She's untouchable. She's beyond reproach. She's the victim of the tragedy. It's like when a victim of a school shooting starts running an anti-gun nonprofit. It's like March for Our Lives, because who could criticize a kid that almost got killed in a school shooting? It's giving me vibes. I don't like that. I don't like when some victim of some atrocity is then presented as a political figure, because it's like, okay, who the fuck are you? You're the victim of some tragedy? That sounds like a really shitty thing to say, but it's like, how do I know you're not being controlled by somebody?
Or better yet, how about you not have the audacity to act as if like the situation that affected Charlie Kirk also doesn't have ramifications or consequences over, I don't know, literally everyone else that calls themselves a conservative, and let alone it also has indirect consequences depending on what's actionable in the response towards what happened there. But it's not. It was only you and Charlie that only ever had leftists yell at them. It's only you and Charlie who ever had leftists in your life. It's only you and Charlie. I mean, it's just, come on, it begins to get, shameless at a certain point. And on top of it all, how about everybody who thinks that too? And I doubt anybody here in chat thinks that. But if you are one of these people who thinks, oh my gosh, how distasteful it is, how about you shut the fuck up and explain to me why they were selling voter registration and merchandise in the tunnels underneath the WWE mega church Joel Osteen event you were running, when there's 364 other days of the year that you could have done that. Really? One day? You guys couldn't take one day off for Charlie? So I don't want to hear anything about this distasteful stuff. And then they're running campaigns. I miss him. Oh, I miss him. Running full-blown like email campaigns of like, oh, we miss him. We miss him. I mean, I looked out the window yesterday and I miss him. Anyways, can you please text this number so I can receive $895, dollars and whatever? Donate here. Yeah, it's a little shameless, man. It's a little shameless. So forgive me if I don't bite my tongue, but I do forgive the language, but that's how I honestly feel. How about you? No. Pump the brakes. No. Exhibit A. What is this? What's going on here? No.
Because quite honestly, we knew who Charlie Kirk was and he built the organization. We have no idea who you are. What makes you qualified to run Turning Point? Because your husband got killed? What makes you qualified? We don't know anything about you. We don't know where you came from. We don't know anything about you. For all we know, you are working for some other person, or now the board is going to run it. Now some shadowy force is going to run Turning Point through you, or you represent. We don't know. We don't know who you are. But no one can say that because she's a widow, and that I don't like.
Yeah. Anthony Tony said, did anyone buy any merch at the Charlie Kirk Memorial? Yeah, you can find photos. There's like, it's like they had it was like in the tunnels, like underneath the center. It was just like tables lined up everywhere. I'm not even joking you. If I remember correctly, there was one of a cardboard cutout of Charlie Kirk that was like holding a sign, and it would said something like, Charlie would want you to vote. Like, they were just straight up just pushing it. Just absolutely just pushing it. And Steve's right. It was clearly meant, used as a GOP rally. Now, there were some good speeches that I caught wind of. I was listening intermittently, obviously praising God and having a strong Christian element in them. But on the same token, J.D. Vance and Trump and Miller and all the others kind of used it. They leveraged it to turn it into otherwise basically a campaign, or really just a rally, if you will.
Because this is a high-profile killing. It is forcing people to ask a lot of questions. And this is the one aspect of it that we're not allowed to ask questions about because it's in bad taste. Well, you know what? This is politics. If you want to speak at the funeral, no one's going to question that. But you seize control of the organization right away. I'm seizing the reins. And no one dare question me because I'm a widow. Yeah, I don't like that. And it doesn't really track. Like I said, if you watch any of the clips, it's just like downright insulting. The way that she's presented as like a trad wife. And Correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be, but if you're the ultimate trad wife, shouldn't you be a little bit more torn up about this? I know I sound like an asshole. Where's the tears? Really? You're a trad wife? You're a helpmate? You're smitten? You're so in love? Blah, blah, blah. Your husband got publicly executed in front of all of his adoring fans 3 days ago. You're giving a speech today, taking control of Turning Point, vowing like that we're going to make Turning Point bigger than ever. Is that...
Hey, you know, pagans can be in here. But Mr. Heritage America 1984, say one thing about Jesus Christ, you're gone, man. We just don't tolerate it. Go be an idiot pagan somewhere else, man. You guys can go dance in circles and soak in the bonfire of your dead gods. Don't care. Take your polytheistic, you're just atheistic, whatever you are, ass out of here, dude. That was the Reddit tier stuff is over, dude. That stuff was way back in 2017. You missed the bus, man. You need to. You honestly might as well be left wing, brother. Get the fuck out of here.
Typical trad wife behavior? Who is this person exactly? Listen, and I know I don't really buy a lot of the Israel conspiracies. That is something I'm very interested in. Erica Kirk is someone I'm very interested in. When people talk about energy weapons and decoy shooters and trap doors, you lose me. When you talk about the person that succeeds Charlie Kirk, that's relevant. Who's going to take his place? Good question. It's the wife. Who's the wife? No one knows. Yeah, but the wife is sort of interesting. And I know I sound like a jerk. Fine. I sound like a jerk. I don't care. That's a question that needs to be answered. And she's in politics now. If she wanted to be a widow, then, you know, she should have just started some fucking foundation and said, we're giving out the Charlie Kirk Memorial Scholarship or something. But she took control of a $500 million all-important political org that just got way more important. You know, succeeding a guy that died, it's a little suspicious. So, and I didn't want to say that right out of the gate because I know how that sounds and I know that comes across a certain way. But I'm just telling you, gut level, my reaction. When I saw her first speech, when I saw her second speech, I said, I don't like this. Something's not right here. Her first speech in the Charlie Kirk studio, I said, something's off here. She comes out and giving a speech and she's like, you know, she's not even crying. Like,
I didn't think the first one was that bad. I seriously thought the first one was like, okay, I could believe it. Because a little bit of that I can chalk up to the fact of like, maybe she's not slept, right? Maybe she's just like, she's actually delusional because she's not sleeping, so much is going on. She's just out of it. So I could take that as being out of the state. It's when that similar behavior begins to be shown over and over and over again, and there's no lax, there's nothing that kind of gives you a bit of reprieve that goes, okay, maybe it is serious. Or maybe she really does feel that way. But no, it keeps going in the one direction and you go, okay.
We know it. She's not even fucking crying. And it's, once again, this is not like we're interrogating her. Why aren't you crying? It's like, isn't that strange? Other people were crying. I was almost crying. You're his wife. You're his trad wife. You're not crying? And she was pretending to, though.
I cried.
She wasn't crying, but she was pretending to. She's like patting her eyes. It's like, honey, you're not crying. We know what crying looks like. Like, it would have been, if she got up there and she was like beside herself, disheveled, maybe someone was helping her, maybe she couldn't finish it, maybe she was actually crying, I'd say, bless her heart. But she came up there and she's like giving this scripted speech, doing this whisper thing. I was like, yeah, no, sorry, sounds fake. And then she's giving another speech a week later, doing the pose. The pose sent me. It's like, oh, stop. She was literally doing Shawn Michaels. Remember when Shawn Michaels fought The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25 and he came out in all white and Undertaker came out in all black? It was like that. She literally goes out there and she's like this, and the fireworks are blowing off, and she says, I forgive the killer, scripted. And now she's in charge of Turning Point. I think that's very suspicious. So I think you're right to question it. I think that's an arranged marriage, if I've ever seen one.
But, I mean, he's right, though. Like, there's because when I was cutting some of it up, when I kind of there's an argument going back and forth over, like, the forgiveness element, and I made a shorter video about that. But there is a video of her literally like this, like, as like these, like the pyrotechnics are going off, fireworks are exploding in the sky. You know, there's like 18 bands going out there. And I got to say too, like, the Christian worship music they were playing was still the same. What it all sounds the same. And like, man, it just makes me sad too. Because I wish like that would be one element that would get some innovation, would be that, and not sound so all bland and similar. But I guess that's the argument there from Nick. This is beginning to appear more and more that Charlie was essentially set up with Erica, but how nefarious does that go, right? How nefarious is it? Or was it only in the sense of trying to groom him, right? Was it not nefarious at all? Was it simply this is what we do to our political candidates. We want to get you spry and spruce you up and get you looking polished and clean? Or did it have more nefarious means to it, right? Or was she more so like was she a dead man's fetch for Charlie? Or you on those ends? One me says, where you shave your head, are losing density, or is the hairline too V'd? Hairline's too V'd. It's bad. But I'm also I can grow my hair out long. It's just a matter of I'm getting old, man. Then I got tired of dealing with it. I had super long hair. You might have seen from some of the previous intros. I had like super long hair and a long beard. And when I began to realize I was spending like an hour in the bathroom a day just to make sure my hair wouldn't be nasty and disgusting, I shaved it all and so quickly. And then the beard went a little bit later beyond that. But that kind of rounds out the majority of what I had prepared for the show today. I do appreciate you guys very much. It's always lovely with you guys. And the more and more I keep doing these streams, it seems the more and more we are beginning to build a more cohesive and consistent audience. So I don't say this enough, but trust me, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys for being here. I do love all the engagement in chat, even if it is retarded and even if it is from a woman, still take it. I appreciate all of that. And I do enjoy seeing some of the similar faces here. I'm beginning to remember some of the names as well. If you guys, I'll stay for this because I'm curious if you guys want me to, I'm willing to do it. If you guys would like to see me dress up at this level from every show from now until I'm not breathing, let me know. I would do it because I don't mind doing this at all. And I do have a couple of like kind of suits I can step into. This is the full classic, like, I'm trying to impress. I have some others that aren't as, spiffy, if you will, but I definitely will continue to do that. And Adam said, drop a specs and setup video. Interesting. Oh yeah, I probably could actually. People have been asking me for that for a while, and I think I might just make it, not post it on YouTube, but post it on my what's the word? On like Discord or somewhere, or post it somewhere, maybe on X, and tag it out to people. But it looks like it had a pretty positive response. Keeps the no more chest hair verboten. It's funny. I saw a comment from somebody on like a video where I'm wearing a sweatshirt, and somebody said, "I still see chest hair." It's like, dude, okay. There's no winning on those elements. So with that, man, I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Try not to get black pilled and doom scroll too much on X. Try to like make the most out of your time. Honestly, I can get into the habit of doom scrolling and get caught up in that. Not like you need to like train yourself like a dog with a timer or like a shot collar or something, but knowing too much is too much. You need to take time off, and you're not really getting anything out of it. And with that, Crisis King, as always, deport Kash Patel, ban Pam Bondi from public life, and also fire her from AG, ban all women from public life. And I do hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I will be a lot more consistent with the streams, as many of you probably know, but maybe you don't. I am moving into full-time doing YouTube, so I will do my best, absolute best, to be as consistent as possible at 6 p.m. with the streams Monday through Friday, and I'll probably start doing some weekend content as well too. So with that, follow me on X, follow me on YouTube, smash the like button, subscribe if you've not already, and I might also start pushing out some clips from the stream for those who don't catch the entire thing, some things along that line. I appreciate all of you guys. Let's go get our country back. Peace out, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.
Get up and get out. Get out. Get out.
I have a question for you.
Say Christ is Lord. Say Christ is Lord. Say it. You say Christ is Lord. Get out. Get out. Christ is Lord.